Hey guys, today I'm going to tell you why your Better Route Planner is an invaluable tool for your Tesla road trips, so if you're interested, stay tuned. Hey guys, so it's summertime right now. Normally a lot of people will be going on a lot of road trips on this time of the year, but unfortunately the pandemic is happening, so maybe not as many people, but this site is basically the site to use if you're going to go on a road trip. And so I thought I'd show you how to use it and what kind of how good this tool basically is. And so, I'm doing it on my computer obviously, but if you have the app for iOS or Droid, the UI basically looks exactly the same. So it's really nice. So if we go into settings here, let me turn this off real quick. So normally, I just went on a road trip to Grover Hot Springs, this campground kind of south of Tahoe here, a few weeks ago, and I use this site like I do with any road trip, but I didn't even bother with detail because it's only 200 miles each way, so it's not really that far. But obviously, if you're going on a road trip across the country or something, you definitely want to use detail so you can get as much accurate information as you can. So I'm going to turn that on for you guys so you can see what kind of data they ask for. Departure state of charge, SOC, 90%. If you're going on a road trip, maybe you want to do 95 or 100. That's up to you. Reference consumption, 247 watt hours per mile, which is, it's not too bad for my car. But do note that this site was created and the guy who maintains it or lady who maintains it, I think is in Germany. So this actually starts out in metric. So to change that, if you go down to app settings here, go to units. I would just show you in metric, why not? So it normally starts out at watt hours per kilometer. And so if you put that in, assuming it's watt hours per mile, you're going to be all screwed up. So just be aware of that it does start out in watt hours per kilometer. So I'll go ahead and change that to imperial. Battery and chargers. So I just used the Tesla supercharger because I only needed a couple of charges. If you're in Europe, you can use CCS or CHAdeMO. And even here in the US, if you have that CHAdeMO adapter, you can use that, or even level 2. So maybe your destination has a level 2 charger that you can use. So you can keep that in mind. Charger availability, you can turn on real time, which is pretty cool, just like inside the car. If you want to see who's using the specific chargers at the station you're looking for, you can turn that on. Don't worry about this. This is just internet stuff. Destination arrival SOC 10%. Charge arrival SOC 10%. So I would just keep those the same. Unless you want, a little more leeway, you can up these if you want. I'm going to go over a little bit more about this later, about this particular trip. Charger max SOC 100%, just leave that because obviously you can't go over 100%. Battery degradation 5%, I would just leave that alone. And then charging overhead, you can leave at 5%, just leave that alone too. Once you get to the actual station, it's going to take you a couple minutes to back in and plug in the charger. So that's what this number is for. Speed, you can turn on real-time traffic, which is really nice. So that can just be kind of like Google Maps. If you want to, monitor that data to give you more accurate data for your trip. Reference speed, 100%, leave that alone. You can change this if you want. Probably shouldn't be going 93 miles an hour, but it's up to you. Adjust speed, I would leave this on too. But what this does is it'll tell you, hey, you're going a little too fast and you're not going to make it to your destination, so slow down. So that's kind of what this will tell you to do. And you can monitor that in the car as well. Road conditions are important as well because this is obviously going to, affect your consumption. So you can turn on real-time weather, which is nice. It'll adjust for that. You can also put in a head or tailwind, which is going to be important because that's going to affect your usage. And obviously the outside temperature is going to impact your usage as well. So definitely put these in if you want detailed information. Road conditions, you can even, normally in the summer's dry roads, at least around here in the Bay Area. But you can also put in rain and snow or heavy rain and snow because that's going to obviously impact your consumption as well if you're, taking a winter road trip or something like that. Avoid, ferries and all that stuff. If you want to, you can put that in. Extra weight you can put in if you want. I don't think that's really going to make that much a difference unless you have a ton of weight for some reason. Maybe you have a ton of family members in your car or you're hauling something, then that might make a little bit of a difference. So if that's the case, then you might want to fill this out. All right, so that's all the detailed settings to give you the most accurate information you can. If you want to, use that, hit this button and it'll give you the route. So note, if you're going on a really long road trip, like across the country or something, this is going to take a little while to load. So just be patient. So for my particular trip, I went from SF to Grover Hot Springs here, which is south of Tahoe, and then basically back home. So what's nice about this and why I mentioned the 10% destination and the other charge, like when you get to the supercharger stations, state of charge, is because if you just go for this particular trip, since it's a campground, if I just went from SF to Grover Hot Springs with 10% left, I would be screwed, because there's, campgrounds usually don't have level two, at least even level 2 chargers, right? So you're going to be dead in the water. So I have it set for round trip back home, because that way I know that once we get there, I'll have enough energy to get back to the supercharger, on our way home, so I can get home. So this particular route happened to be Placerville twice. So Placerville for 16 minutes the first time, and then basically Placerville again when we come back for just happened to be 16 minutes as well. And so if we look here, 74%, it wants me to charge for 16 minutes to 74%. From Placerville to Grover Hot Springs, it's only 80 miles, but 74% of my mid-range is like 190 miles. So why would it ask me to do that? Well, we've got hills here. So basically at one point we were at like 8,000 feet. And so, you're obviously going to use a lot more energy going uphill. And so that's why I need to charge so much. Also, because I need to be able to get back to the charger when we're done with our trip. So that's why it needs me to charge so much over the 80 miles that, physically how far the campground is. And so, go on our trip, have fun, come back. Like when our car is sitting there during the time we're camping, it's at 35%. But then if you'll notice, to get back to Placerville, it'll be down to 14%. It's only like 20%. And obviously that's because we're going downhill going back home. So we're using regen braking to get some energy back. And so it knows that the site knows with all that elevation that you'll be able to get there, having 35% starting, you'll be able to get there to 14% because you're using your regen braking. Now, what you could also do too while you're on your trip is you could use the Tesla, in-car route planner as well to help you out. What I would use that for is to monitor your energy consumption. So I have another video on how to read that graph and how to understand that. So I'll link you in the cards to that if you want to look that up. But that can be helpful as well, because then you can use that to enter into this site to give you more accurate data on that day, on that particular day, and your particular, driving style. Maybe it's a little bit off that day or something, or maybe there's unforeseen circumstances that you didn't account for. So then you can put that in and it'll give you a more accurate, reading of where you need to go and how long you need to charge for. Another reason why I like a better route planner over the Tesla in-car trip planner is because that planner can only go one way. So basically you wouldn't be able to do SF to Grover Hot Springs and back to SF. And so that's it's not very good. It's not quite as detailed, and you're going to need more information than that. And also you can't add locations, like additional locations. It's just to and from, and that's it, which is not very helpful as well, because like in my particular situation, I needed to be able to know how much charge I needed the first time here. That way I could get back to the charger once we were done with our trip, because, like I mentioned, the campground didn't have any chargers, so I need to have enough energy to get back here. So that's where this site is way helpful and very invaluable compared to Tesla's in-car route planner right now. So hopefully in the future they can upgrade that, because that would be really nice to actually even be able to add locations or do a round trip, so you can have like at least similar data to what this site will give you. So that's pretty much it for a better route planner. I think this is an invaluable site to use if you're going on a road trip. Definitely check out this site. So what do you guys think of this app? Do you think it's a good app, bad app? Let me know if you think it's worth it to use or not. And if you use other apps on road trips, which ones are those? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.